The day they rolled up on my property pretending to be someone they weren't was the day I stopped pretending to be civil. It started like any other morning on my ranch outside Raven Hollow. Blue sky, wind rustling through the oaks, the faint echo of coyotes still hanging in the air. I was elbow-deep in Mustang grease, restoring my '69 fastback when a guy in knockoff aviators and a windbreaker with Covenant Ridge HOA stitched on it approached like he was about to perform a traffic stop. "Afternoon," he said, chin up, clipboard clutched tight. "You the new owner of Parcel 42C?" I looked up from the engine. "Unless this is a sting, yeah. That's me." No laugh. No banter. Just the kind of silent judgment you normally reserve for jury duty. He stared at the car like it had just offended his ancestry. Now I get it. The car's loud. It's not subtle. But I wasn't prepared for what came next. "We've had a complaint," he said. "Already?" I asked. "I haven't even unpacked my dishes." "It's the engine," he continued. "It violates residential decibel limits." I looked at him, then at the Mustang, then back again. "And you measured that with what?" "A curling iron and a dream." He didn't like that. His jaw twitched like a dog ready to bite. "There are procedures. Article 5, Section 12". "Greg," I said, reading the stitched name on his jacket. "You showed up on my land with a badge that looks like it came out of a cereal box. You think this is about the car?" He smiled. A slow, snake oil kind of grin. "We expect all residents to align with the standards of the neighborhood." Ah, there it was. The veiled threat. And that's when Grandpa Eli emerged from the barn like a cowboy prophet from a bygone era. Vietnam sniper, 75, built like a stone wall, and eyes like glass, sharp and unblinking. A rifle slung over one shoulder, a cigar smoldering in his teeth. "Aha," he muttered, taking one look at Greg. "One of them clipboard cowboys." Greg stiffened. "And you are old, armed, and allergic to bureaucrats," Eli replied, stepping forward. Greg blinked. "You got a warrant, son?" "This isn't a police matter," Greg replied. "Good, 'cause if it was, you'd be trespassing." Greg's mouth flapped like a broken screen door. "I'll be filing a report." "Expect a compliance review." As he turned to leave, his eyes lingered on the Mustang. "Nice car," he said. "Shame if it started racking up fines faster than you could pay them." Eli took a long drag of his cigar. "That's HOA speak for, we're about to crawl up your ass with a clipboard." And he wasn't wrong. The next few days were quiet, but not the good kind. I kept my head down, fixed a porch board, cleaned out the gutters, adjusted the Mustang to idle just under the noise limit. Just annoying enough. Legal, though. Then the letter came. Plain envelope. No return address. Covenant Ridge HOA logo printed like a threat. "Your continued resistance to integration with Covenant Ridge standards has been noted. Should further escalation be necessary, your property will be reviewed for corrective intervention." Corrective intervention, Eli read out loud. That's either a threat or a colonoscopy. But it wasn't the wording that got me. It was the photo tucked behind the letter, shirtless, working under the Mustang. A long lens shot. From the trees. My cameras never caught it. "They've been watching," I said. "This ain't code enforcement," Eli muttered, grabbing his rifle. "This is recon." That night we sat on the porch, me with my binoculars, him with the Remington watching the dark. At 2 a.m. one of the sensors pinged. Something fast. Too fast for a deer. All I found was bent brush and a menthol cigarette, but with red lipstick. "Karen," Eli said, pointing down the road. "Beige house. Blue shutters. Wind chimes that made me want to commit arson. President of the HOA. Thinks she's Judge Judy and Caesar rolled into one." Next morning, Hank stopped by. Retired electrician. Fidgety hands. "You the new guy?" he asked. Heads up, don't poke the bear. "What bear?" He gestured toward the HOA trailer. "Them. I put up a metal shed once. Next day, my water got shut off. Took 6 weeks to fix." "What did you do?" "Sold the house." That night, we rigged more floodlights, lifted the trail cams 10 feet, added thermal overlays, repositioned the barn cameras. Every letter I'd received got pinned to my workshop wall, next to that photo of me under the Mustang. Then came the knock that wasn't a knock. 3 men, moving in formation. Not in uniform, but clothes, black polos, radios clipped to belts, sidearms half hidden. No clipboard. Compliance inspection, one said. Did you forget the paperwork in your tank? I asked. He flashed a batch-heap laminate. Routine review. Under HOA Statute 9C. Never heard of it, I said. And I've read the charter. No names. No warrants. Roy stood slowly and tapped his cane against the porch. Didn't know HOA rules came with tactical gear. I stepped in. You're not enforcement. You're pretending. So which is it? Cosplayers or criminals? Silence. The one on the left reached for his belt. Roy didn't flinch. Just pulled a shotgun from behind a planter. Not escalating, he said. Just prepared. The leader grit his teeth. This isn't over. No, I said. It's not. They left. But not before we saw the drone bay on the back of their SUV. Roy leaned in. They'll be back. That night at 3:17 a.m. a drone came. Fast. Precise. Dropped something by the mailbox. When it zipped off, we found another photo. Roy mid-cigar. Taken from the brush. We checked the Mustang. Found a magnetic tracker tucked behind the rear axle. I traced it back to an old utility shed using a signal reader. Roy just nodded. Feed it fake data. Lure them in. We started playing chess. The deeper Roy dug into the HOA charter, the weirder it got. Shell companies. A parent LLC registered in Colorado. One of them Liongate Tactical Solutions. The same Liongate that got blacklisted after a botched op in West Africa. And now they were filing citations in suburban Georgia. We pulled a flash drive off one of their enforcers and decrypted it. Phase 5, Property Seizure Maple Sector. 12 homes. All marked non-compliant. Surveillance photos. GPS logs. Plans for reclamation. They weren't enforcing rules. They were running a scam, drain the owners with fines, foreclose under HOA statutes, declare the homes abandoned, seize them, flip the land. We were at the top of the list. So I called in a favor. Mick Shaw, my old unit buddy. Drone expert. Now flying recon for paranoid tech billionaires. You busy? I asked. For you, he said. Let's make HOA stand for hell over Arlington. He launched 4 thermals. Sent me live feeds. That night, we watched as Karen paced inside the HOA trailer, phone pressed to her ear. Then came the real Golda white box truck pulling up to an abandoned greenhouse. Armed guards. Black crates labeled property enforcement kits. This isn't pushback, I said. It's occupation. Roy just grunted. Then I got an email from Karen. Subject line, neighborhood harmony. The body? 1 sentence. Those who fail to adapt will be reevaluated. That's not an HOA notice, Roy muttered. That's a warlord's mission statement. We prepped. Thermal cams hidden in garden gnomes. Signal jammers in the birdbath. Tripwires on the gate. And the Mustang tracker? We sent it on daily joyrides into town under a tarp. Let them chase a ghost. Then Hank returned. With fire in his eyes. She fined me $3,000 for community optics. Means your bushes aren't symmetrical, I said. Or your face. Roy stepped out. You ready to stop folding? Hank handed me a list. For names. All ready to fight. We weren't defending anymore. We were planning the offensive. And they had no idea the line had already been drawn. Continued in next message due to length. Continued from previous message. At 1:48 a.m., the world went quiet. No frogs. No wind. Just stillness thick enough to slice. They're close, Roy said from his porch chair, carbine across his lap. I checked the tablet. For heat signatures. South tree lean. Low crawl. 1 peeled off toward the barn. 3 crept toward the garage. At 2:07 a.m., the bolt cutters hit. Exactly where we planned. They tripped a decoy alarm, then missed the real one. A flashbang ignited in an oil drum rig. Shook the whole wall. 1 slipped and fell. Another took a beanbag round to the ribs from my shotgun. Roy zipped the 3rd and left him face down, groaning. The 4th barn bound was clever, avoided outer tripwire. But the interior? Different story. A feed chute opened. Nails and hay slammed onto him. Then Ranger the goat charged, all fury and hooves. I found him tangled in the milking rack. You good? I asked. He groaned. I zip-tied him and left him with the others. The 5th was slick reaping under the porch, Glock drawn, gloves tight. He slipped through the kitchen window and found me waiting. I dropped him into the pantry shelf before he could speak. 30 seconds later, he was hogtied on the tile. We lined them up outside. Tactical gear? Knee pads worn from desert sand. Not volunteers. Lion Gate. Their bags held GPS trackers, maps, dye injection pens, and a sealed envelope, pre-approval for Parcel 42C. My ranch. Dated yesterday. Filed. Signed. They weren't here to scare us. They came to take us. Roy crushed their still-active radio under his boot after a woman's voice crackled. Has the package been retrieved? Karen. Cleanup came next. We called it in anonymously. Deputy arrived. Young. Disinterested. Logged it as neighbor dispute. Didn't ask for IDs. Didn't take them in. Roy didn't speak until the cruiser was gone. They're covered. High up. Then we don't go through them, I said. Then who? I looked at the transfer document. Pinned it above my workbench. Next to the tracker. Next to the photo they took. Every war has a map. That was mine. At 7:14 a.m. I called Mick. You want recon or a kill switch? Both, I said. Start with a data dump. By 1 p.m. he called back. This ain't corruption, he said. It's a damn business model. Karen had been filing foreclosures before violations. Falsifying abandonment. Bulldozing homes before residents could appeal. Turning properties for profit. I didn't leak it. I weaponized it. Built a black site-style webpage, black background, red header. The Covenant files, expose. Erase. Escape. Drone footage. Citation forgeries. Maps. Audio of Karen whispering. Has the package been retrieved? Roy peeked over my shoulder. Damn fine airstrike. We gave the link to Jennings. A local blogger Roy once saved from a mess involving snakes and tequila. By noon, the story exploded. By 4 p.m., local news surrounded Greg Falk's trailer. Microphones, cameras, panic. That evening, Karen called a meeting at the Covenant Ridge clubhouse. Roy and I stood in the back, arms crossed. Silent. Karen took the podium like a failed cult leader. Linen suit. Quivering hands. This community is under attack by agitators who've doctored documents and stolen internal records. I raised my hand. No questions, she barked. You'll want this one, someone whispered. I walked forward. Synced my phone to the projector. Played the footage night vision, time-stamped, for men crawling across my land. Dead silence. Then Karen's voice filled the room. Has the package been retrieved? Greg Falk stood. That could be anyone. You want to keep going, Greg? I asked. He sat. Hank stood. My name's on that list. So is the orchard owner. And the goat rancher. Then Marcus ex-Marine, now Pia stepped up. I've been tracking them for 4 months. He pulled a folder thick with notarized docs. If your parcel file says, reclamation pending, you're next. Karen cracked. Just a twitch in her eye. This is a smear campaign. No, I said. It's your resume. She tried to leave. No one let her. Later that night, Mick called. They're moving. Greenhouse compound. For trucks. Burn barrels. They were erasing evidence. We wait, I said, and they wipe it clean. Roy nodded. Then we don't wait. He handed me a field radio. We rode out under moonlight. Saddle creaking. Weapons strapped tight. Juno, my gelding, knew the path like he was born for it. The greenhouse was lit from within. Trucks idling. Burn barrels smoking. Phase 1, breach. Roy flanked east. I slid low through the ravine. 2 guards outside, one behind a trellis, one scrolling his phone. I dropped the first with a chokehold. Roy cut power with a machete. Lights died. We moved. Phase 2, fire. Roy kicked in the east door. Inside, 2 men, one fumbled for a weapon, another ran. Roy tackled him through a folding table. We extinguished one fire, saved some files. Grabbed a server drive. 1 folder fell, internal terminations. Photos. Names. People who'd vanished. 1 marked, contained. I didn't ask. Phase 3, Karen. Back room. Alone. 1 pistol. 1 USB stick. You think this changes anything? She whispered. No, I said. I think it ends it. You'll be dead before morning. Maybe. But you'll be in court. I dropped a second folder on her desk: texts, bank transfers, her own signed approvals. I didn't sign. I slid her document over. Right there. Before your team tried to take my land. She stared. Silent. Then she whispered, I'm not the only one. I know. But you're the one here now. She reached for the gun. Roy caught it midair. We don't disappear people, he said. But we sure don't let them disappear us. We zip-cuffed her. Called it in. Mick arrived. Then Jennings. Then the state investigator we tipped off 3 days earlier. They took everything. Karen never said another word. 2 weeks later, the HOA was dissolved. 7 homes returned. Greg vanished. Roy hasn't touched a rifle since. Sits on the porch most mornings with Ranger, coffee in hand, like he's daring the sunrise to start something. We don't talk about that night. We don't need to. Some battles leave no questions. And if anyone ever forgets where the line is again, they'll hear boots. And I won't be far behind.